Bigger than a smartphone, smaller than a laptop, and lets you do everything from read a newspaper to watch a film and send an email. With a great deal of secrecy and an incredible marketing buzz, technology giants Apple are in California as we speak, launching their most hotly anticipated new gadget ever, the iPad. So is it the new must-have for millions of consumers? And how might it change the whole media industry? Our technology correspondent Benjamin Cohen has this.
And we call it the iPad.
The obligatory cheers from the Apple faithful heralded a device that Apple chief exec Steve Jobs claims will change our digital lives. One computer with no mouse or keyboard that seems to marry web browsing, social networking, email, films to reading newspapers and books, all on one shiny touchscreen.
What this device does is extraordinary. You can browse the web with it. It is the best browsing experience you've ever had. It's phenomenal to see a whole web page right in front of you and you can manipulate with your fingers. It's unbelievably great. Way better than a laptop. Way better than a smartphone.
We have seen similar devices before, then known as tablet PCs. As far back as 2001, Bill Gates said that they were the future of computing, but they never took off. But Apple has a knack of succeeding where others have failed. They created a touchscreen phone which had people queuing round the block, and before that they turned the humble and poorly selling MP3 player into the must-have iPod.
Who is Newton? Newton is spontaneous.
Although Apple has had some flops, notably the Newton, a handheld computer canned in 1998, which with a touchscreen interface is disturbingly similar to Apple's latest gadget.
You have things like the Newton. You have the last time Apple really tried to push gaming with the Apple Bandai Pippin, a complete failure back in the mid-90s. But this time round, it is much more like one of their existing products. It is very like an iPhone. Look how successful that's been. I think it's unlikely this is going to be one of the big Apple flops.
Apple were taken aback by the popularity of games on the iPhone and the iPod Touch. The new device with a much larger screen will be a threat to gaming market leaders Sony and Nintendo, each with their own handheld devices. The publishing industry is hoping that some of Apple's magic will rub off on them too. Fewer and fewer people are buying newspapers and magazines because you can just log on to the internet and view it all for free. But that's not so easy when you're on the move, so they're hoping that specially designed Apple-friendly versions of newspapers and magazines, similar to ones already found here on the Amazon Kindle, might be just the thing to persuade people to pay.
Really
Apple
great.
previewed a paid-for New York Times application, and it's expected that other newspapers will be following suit.
Publishers look at this tablet and think that it is their salvation, that it has come down from Mount Sinai. What they're wishing for is something that regains the control they used to have when they controlled the press. Well, that control is over.
The market is hotting up. Later this year, Dell will team up with Google to launch a tablet device, as will HP with Microsoft, to name just a few. Apple has also signed deals with most of the major book publishers who are desperately hoping more of us will pay to read electronic books. The iPad costs up to £500 plus a monthly charge to access the internet. But it won't be until March that it will be clear if Apple can prosper in the market that has proved thus far so difficult to crack.
Tonight's main news, the